Hi, my name is Jimmy Yu. I am one of 5 high performance coaches here at Complete Performance Coaching. Today I'm going to do my Facebook Live. I'm actually piggybacking off of Rebecca. She talked about how athletes can work with their coaches, and for me, I'm going to provide some advice for coaches on how to be better youth and high school coaches. All right, so for me, aside from being a high performance coach, I'm also a high school coach, a youth coach, and travel coach for lacrosse. I just finished my summer season with my travel high school team, and right now it's my downtime. It's Summer's coming to an end. Tryouts for the fall season are about to start in 2 weeks, so it's kind of that low time. And for me as a coach, it's to reflect on the last year of coaching and look back at things that have done well, things to improve on, and just kind of work on those little things to improve as a coach. So for me today, I'm going to talk about coaching and three parts of it. One about having values as a coach, setting goals as a coach, and how to act, react with emotions and with and without with emotions. All right. So values, I think this is the most important part as a coach. What do you want to teach your kids? What do you want them to learn? What do you want them to walk away with? One, as an athlete, and two, just those life skills. So for me, my kind of big vision or mission when I go into each team is that I want my kids to, I tell the athletes, I want you to have fun. And to me, fun means playing hard, playing together, and playing as a family, right? So fun is, again, playing hard, playing competitive, but the other side is supporting each other as a family. All right, so fun and family are the two kind of main and core goals for me. How do I teach that? The fun piece, the playing hard, is I talk about it as being mastery. When I really with the athletes, it's hey, every practice, every competition is about getting better. It's about becoming better at what you do, one little step at a time, right? One little munchable chunk at a time. So to do that, and this is getting into that goal setting piece, setting little goals each day. All right, so that mastery piece. The other side, it's really important, is developing that family piece. And to me, this goes back to the psychology piece of Erik Erikson. He's a social. He talked about social development with people, and for me, the age between 12 and 18. So youth, middle school, high school athletes, it's a big time, right? So for most people, maybe you don't know it, but 13 is the time when 80% of athletes quit playing sports. So having values and developing those values are important. What I do with that part is, I take Erickson's idea of like, hey, he talked about identity, role development, and when players on my team, my hope is that they develop that group identity, that they take away a good experience from playing lacrosse. They want to identify with themselves as lacrosse players, but on that other side, an individual, helping them develop individual confidence in themselves, helping them to develop that like identity, that role identity for them, right? Because again, high school, middle school, it's the hardest time for kids because they're developing who they are, just trying to see where they fit in and understand, who their friends are, how they identify themselves. So I want to help with that as a coach. Um, and again, so how do I push those values? How do I teach that to players? The three core values I have for them are be a good coach or be a good helper, right? And how do you do that? On the field, in practice, it's being the best coach you can be on the field as a player. So give advice, be willing to get advice. And off the field, if someone's struggling with school, be a good helper by helping them, help tutor each other, identify what subjects you're good at, help other athletes, right? Help your teammates. So that's that coaching or helping piece. Be a good support. Be a good support for your teammates. If they had a poor performance, just be there. Be there to give them a hug, give them a tap on the shoulder that they're there, you support them, that they support you. Just being there in the moment, listening to them, just allowing them to kind of stew in those thoughts and knowing that they have your support. So again, coaching and being a good help, support, and the last one is be a good encourager. Right at the end of the day, when athletes make mistakes or when people make mistakes, like everyone knows it, and that person knows it the best. That yeah, I really screwed up. they're they're beating themselves up inside their head. So we don't have to be that reminder. They already know. We already know that they're upset. So instead of highlighting the negative or just telling them that they suck, we want to be the encourager. Highlight the little things that they did well. And again, I'll get into this in the goal setting piece and moving forward. But encouraging, highlighting good things that they do versus the things that they're doing awful, right? Because if I get into this mindset of just drilling the negatives, this is where I have athletes come see me, is because they've harped on the negatives. They've beaten themselves up. Coaches have beaten them up. And when I ask them the simple question, hey, what are you doing poorly? They can for days tell me everything that's going wrong. I'm like, hey, what are you doing right? There's crickets. They can't tell you one thing they're doing right. So as a coach, let's make sure we develop that mindset of highlighting positives, making sure they're advocating for themselves in a positive manner, and that we're doing the same for them, highlighting those great things that they're doing, those little things that are showing. So for me as a coach for lacrosse, a little effort goal is, hey, we worked on this in practice. That was a great shot. That was a great attempt on goal. You had the confidence to drive on that guy. And, that's showing that you did something well. You might have missed the goal. You might have gotten the ball checked out of your stick. But you did it. You committed just like we did in practice. All right? So, again, being that encourager. And I'm hoping to see my athletes do the same thing. Again, those three things are coaching and being good help on and off the field, support on and off the field, and being an encourager. So that goes into the values of me as a coach and how to kind of teach that to athletes, how I give it to them. All right, again, it's basic. It's an overview. If you want more information, please ask questions in the future or give me a call. Second one, so values. Second piece is goal setting. So overall, my outcome goal for the season, every time I go into a season, is let's be successful, let's be a competitive team, and let's go win games, right? So at the end of the day, I want to win games. I want to be competitive. I want my team to be the best. But it's how we get there. So it's that process. And again, what I call little munchable chunks. And the way that I relate this to players is, we can think about winning all the time, but it's like eating a large pizza and asking you to eat it in one bite. And it's messy, it's ugly, it doesn't work. Can't do it. I couldn't fit a whole large pizza in my mouth. So I'm not asking you to win every game. I'm asking you to do these little things to get us to that success. All right, so 4 pillars of sports to be a good athlete, to be better at what you're doing. You need to develop that technical, tactical, physical, mental side. And as coaches, we're in charge of doing that. So think about those little goals. And what I try to do is set 1 to 4 small goals for the whole team, for the specialty position. So for lacrosse, the defense has 1 to 3 little goals, 1 to 4 little goals. The middies have the same thing, 1 to 4 little goals, and the attackmen, 1 to 4 little goals, goalie, same thing to stick to. And that's what the guiding light for practice, sticking to those little expectations, and again, carrying those into competition. So if I focus on the goals as a coach, then I'm not going to get carried away with just winning, just eating the whole pizza in one bite. I'm there to, again, focus on little things that we're improving, highlight those things. All right, so with that mindset, again, practice is about getting better, improving. Competition is about showing what we've improved on, highlighting what we're doing well, and just, I guess, coming to the understanding of what we still need to work on, right? Versus win every game, destroy every team. It's these little munchable chunks. The last thing are emotions. And I'm going to highlight what Rebecca said earlier about filtering, right? So one thing with emotions is that when athletes do things great, but they do things negative, we just react, right? Things happen and we react, and it's okay. As coaches, we're allowed to kind of show emotion and react. It's how we follow up with it. And for me, the negative is the hardest. And for me, as a lacrosse coach, I always have one athlete who looks like a ball hawk, who is always trying to drive to the goal, drawing 4 or 5 defenders, tries to go through everybody. Once in a while they score, and most of the time they're getting stripped, right? The ball's getting stripped. And it's easy to just harp on those negatives and just say, God, why do you do that, Bob? Why do you suck so bad? Why do you keep doing that? Why are you such a ball hog? Instead, if I focus on my goals and expectations for the team, I can reinforce this person by saying, hey, you drove to the goal. You committed to your dodge, right? That was good. We drew those defenders. Now, like practice, we're looking for those outlets. We're looking for those easy outlets, easy goals, looking for those easy assists, right? So that's how I would focus on the negative. So I can react to it like, God, that was bad. And I may be saying that to myself. Maybe I'm just throwing my hat for a second. It's okay. I can own that, right? But it's how I follow up with the athlete and how I continue to work with them. So again, that filtering for coaches is highlighting those positives, continuing to highlight the little things they're doing well. And again, I can get a little bit mad, but I want to follow up with something good, right? And then controllables. So this is going into the other part of emotions. And to me, this happens when we feel like referees are making bad calls, players on the other team are maybe playing dirty, maybe my players are playing too aggressive, other coaches are yelling and screaming, maybe they seem like they're cheating, and I've got parents screaming, right? So this happened to me earlier in the season on a youth when I was coaching my little kids. They were second, third, fourth graders playing lacrosse, and the other coach is running the score up. You know, the players are getting really aggressive, parents are screaming, referees aren't making calls. And I'm like, I'm just getting pissed. I'm like, God, that referee sucks. He's not listening, not making good calls. That coach is an idiot, right? And those parents, they're nuts, you know? And I was talking to one of my coaches afterwards, and I realized, like, you know, he's like, hey, did you ever talk to any of those referees? I'm like, yeah, like, and this wasn't one of my coaches, another coach friend. I was like, yeah, I was kind of just yelling at the referees, you know? So, okay. You know, I realized, all right, so if I'm going to be proactive, I need to go talk to the referees, kind of approach them. I can be mad, own it, but when I approach them, I got to get rid of that emotion. I got to go in there more objective, right? And if they're not listening and I feel like I'm not being heard, the next thing, instead of yelling at the other coaches and telling them how they suck, you know, I go over there and talk through, like, hey, you know, we want a safe game. We want to keep this competitive. You know, in a high school game, I'll just say players are getting really physical. Maybe the referees aren't calling it, and I feel like it's going to get in this unsafe situation. I'll tell the other coach, like, hey, I'm going to pull my players that are being like that. The referees aren't making good calls. I hope you can do the same. Let's control this game. Let's work this together. So creating that partnership with the other coaches. Sometimes they'll listen and be receptive, hopefully. Other times they're not, but at least they'll know that I gave it that opportunity. I was trying to be proactive and do that. And with parents, like, I'm probably the worst at hearing parents because I'm able to filter them out. But if I hear parents going nuts, like, as a coach, don't be afraid to go stop the game. Talk to the referees. Go over to your parents. Tell them to calm down. All right, again, being proactive as a coach. Right? So in that emotional piece, controlling the controllable. I can control the situation by being proactive and doing these little things versus being reactive and just blaming everyone, putting things out of my control, right? So I control working with the referees, or I can just hate them, they can hate me, right? So again, recapping, to be a better coach, think about the values you have, what you want to teach to the players, what you want them to have as athletes to walk away with at the end of the season. Goal setting, set your goals, set little goals. You know, have a big goal, your big outcome goal, but have those little goals, those little munchable chunks to reinforce every single day, all the little things through practice, through competition. And lastly, emotions, having that emotional control, using your filter to highlight positives, highlight things that players are doing well based off of the goals you set, those little expectations. All right. And then again, with referees, with parents, players, other teammates, other team, control the controllables. Take control of the little things that you can to help make things better. Again, sticking to your values, sticking to your expectations without losing it, right? Again, we're allowed to, like, react, kind of get mad, but let's take a deep breath, let's be objective, and let's approach the situation, and again, put it in our control. All right, so that's my Facebook Live session for today. Hope to hear from you guys, hope to get some questions, comments, and I'll see you in a month. Thanks.